Welcome to I Just Have to Say Something. This video is from the Law and Crime Network. Please give them the credit that they deserve. A link will be provided in the description. I wanted to share that the last post that I was replying to in the United States before I got out of the service was at Fort Polk, Louisiana. It was the only place in my life that I had a negative experience with the police. I was assaulted by one of their police officers over just a minor traffic violation. And I will share a quick story of what happened. I lived in off-base housing in a small shitbag little town called Louisiana, which is about 20 minutes from Fort Polk at the most. So I'll share with you what happened. I was leaving my home and just turned out a residential neighborhood where there was a half pint size police officer that literally had his radar gun reflecting off of his rear view mirror on the driver's side. And when I asked him, why did you pull me over? He says, well, I got you speeding. I'm like, I know I wasn't speeding. And the guy started getting pushy and just started pushing me up against the car. And it just gave him the information that he needed. And eventually it went away. I tried to file a complaint. They wouldn't give me a complaint form. So I understand Mr. Derrick Kittling's frustration with the police. So here I am over 30 years later talking about this incident that happened in New Lano with their police department. It is probably the root cause of why I started this channel, because over my life, I've seen too many officers that have done great jobs, but I've seen just as many that just trample all over citizens' rights and abuse their power and authority with very, very little accountability. Let's take a look at this video.
On me, man.
Give me a unit.
Why you
Face
grabbing on
the
me,
truck.
bro?
Turn around and put your hands behind your back.
What's wrong with you, bro?
Put your hands behind your back.
For what?
Put your hands behind your back.
For what, bro?
A traffic stop turns deadly in Louisiana when an officer opens fire on the driver.
Shots fired. One subject down. Gunshot wound to the head.
The Louisiana State Police released body camera, squad dash camera, and bystander cell phone video of the incident as they investigate the shooting. It happened on Sunday, November 6th in Alexandria, Louisiana. At about 1:18 that afternoon, Rapides Parish Sheriff Deputy Rodney Anderson pulled over a Chevy Silverado for a traffic violation.
Stay right there.
What I'm sharing with you today is based on my experience as a concealed weapons holder for over 20 years and how to interact with the police in the efforts to make sure that things don't get escalated. The first thing that I see here is that this gentleman gets out of the car. You can tell by his body language, he's obviously irritated with the police, and I get it. But the safest and the most prudent thing to do in this situation is stay in the car, keep your seatbelt on, open the windows, and wait until the officer approaches your vehicle.
Right here. To the truck. To the truck.
Anderson instructed the driver, later identified as 45-year-old Derrick Kittling, to stand near the back of the vehicle and keep his hands outside of his pockets.
To the back of your truck. Show me. Keep your hands out your pockets.
Now, one thing that I learned when interacting with the police is they check for your eyes, hands, and waist. Do not dig into your pockets. Do not fidget at your waist. When a police officer says, keep your hands out of your pocket, he's already escalating in his mind that you have the potential that you have a weapon. They're always going to assume that. But in this case, when you see that the gentleman got out of the car and his body language, it gives him pause to think that, hey, this can go bad really fast.
Put them on the walk to the back of your truck.
Body camera video shows Anderson asking Kittling repeatedly to approach the back of the truck.
To the back of your truck. Show me. Keep your hands out your pockets. Put them on the walk to the back of your truck.
When Anderson approaches Kittling, Kittling asks what is going on.
Face the back of your, face your truck for me.
Now, I will say, when a police officer pulls you over, and his concern right now, and what I could see is he's thinking, I think this guy's armed, he's agitated, it's probably going to result in a fight. So when you ask, why did you pull me over? And he doesn't answer immediately, and he's telling you, hands against the car, put your hands behind at your side. Safety comes first. It's the same for paramedics, same things for all people that deal with public safety. Safety first. So he's trying to de-escalate it to get control of the situation, and then he'll answer your questions. I've seen too many YouTube videos where people just demand, you got to tell me why you stopped me. It just escalates and it turns into a shit show. Follow instructions, de-escalate the situation, and then work on getting and finding out why you were stopped.
Face the truck.
What's this?
Huh?
What's this?
Because you agitated, you turn around, you ain't following
I
nothing.
am following.
Look,
I
turn.
don't hear you. Can I get
Turn.
my phone, sir?
We'll get to that. Just turn and face the truck. Turn and face the truck.
What I
Face
did?
the truck.
The Louisiana State Police later revealed Anderson pulled Kittling over for a violation with his window tint and modified exhaust.
And this is where I call for police modernization. So this gentleman was pulled over for his windows being too dark and his muffler being too loud. And I've seen too many videos where people who own regular trucks like this one to people who drive supercars like Lamborghinis and Bugattis where the police officers are like, your muffler's too loud. That's not stock. Bubba, on a police officer's salary, you're really going to know what a stock Bugatti or Lamborghini's muffler sounds like because you drive one every day? I don't think so. So my argument is anything that you could put somebody in court with, you need to have a device that you could test in the field, and that device should have a log that cannot be edited or altered in any way that can be submitted to the court. No more nonsense of I got you going at 85, and when you say, hey, can you show me some proof that you actually saw me going at 85? No, it's just my word. But that's what the machine said. Yeah, right. That you could submit to court to say, on this day, I saw this event, we measured it, you were in violation of this law. I heard this, I did my test, and here's the results, and it violated this law. This, well, your windows are dark and you're black, and we're going to pull you over, or your muffler was too loud. How can you objectively test that without the proper equipment? The laws that cover muffler noise are very specific. So if you're going to hold anyone accountable for violating these laws, you should damn well have the tools to be able to prove in a court of law that it was tested and it did in fact violate those laws.
According to the body camera video, Anderson does not tell Kittling why he was pulled over.
What is wrong with you? Why
Face
is you
the truck.
grabbing on me, man?
Give me a unit.
Why you
Face
grabbing
the
on me,
truck.
bro?
Turn around.
After a few seconds of conversation, a struggle broke out. Body camera video shows Anderson holding both of Kittling's arms before grabbing for his taser. Kittling also reaches for the taser before the pair fall to the ground.
Now, one of the misnomers that I hear a lot with people who don't understand police interactions and concealed carry and being around guns is that if you assault somebody who has knowingly has a gun and you struggle over, in this case, a taser, and that officer is armed in this case, you have to understand that at that point, it's not the police officer's gun. It's our gun. Whoever gets to that gun first is going to win that day. And that officer is going to do everything he can to go home at the end of the day. Reaching for a police officer's taser, people will be like, well, that's not a non-lethal weapon. And absolutely true in most cases. There have been cases where tasers have actually killed people. But the biggest concern to that officer, just like it would be for me as a concealed carrier, if somebody tased me, is that you're going to disarm me and possibly use my weapon against me. So it's on. This is a life and death struggle. So it's not a matter of, well, you shot an unarmed individual. No, the minute you start that fight with somebody who's armed, that you know is armed, that person has every right in the world to assume that you're going to take that weapon and use them on them. So never, ever, ever escalate to this point in any situation with the police. Again, fight it in the courtroom, not on the street.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
The Louisiana State Police say the entire incident lasted about 58 seconds total. Within minutes, medics responded to the scene, but Kittling died as a result of his.
All of this happened in 58 seconds. Think about that. Lives are changed, a life is lost, all because of handling a traffic stop poorly with the police officer. When you get pulled over, as I mentioned earlier, tons of YouTube videos where people are just jerks with the cops. Don't escalate. Stay in the car. Keep your seatbelt on. Keep your hands on the steering wheel. Open your windows. In most states, if you're driving a car, you have to show your ID. Until things get settled, always assume that a police officer is not going to answer your questions until he feels that the scene is secure and that he is going to be safe throughout the encounter. Use this as a learning experience so that you understand that poor decisions can lead to very, very tragic outcomes.
Injuries. When the Louisiana State Police investigation is complete, the final report will be sent to the Rapides Parish District Attorney's Office for final review. Investigators ask that anyone with more information, photos, or videos of the incident submit it to the Louisiana State Police Evidence Submission Portal. Famed civil rights attorneys Ben Crump and Ronald Haley are now representing Kittling's family, saying his civil rights may have been violated during the traffic stop.
As mentioned in other videos, I'm not an attorney. I'm just trying to do my best to make sure everybody goes home safely at the end of the day, police officers and the general public. Is it possible that Mr. Kittling had a civil rights case? Very possibly. But now, after looking at the actions that was taken by Mr. Kittling in under 58 seconds, it's going to be very, very difficult to prove that there was anything from a civil rights standpoint that was violated after you get into a struggle with a police officer for his taser. The best thing that he could have possibly done is stay in the car and fight it in court and even take it to a civil rights case if there was something there. But all that was lost. The life was lost. And I really, truly believe that it was needless because things that people learn on YouTube, the frustrations with the police department that even I have up to this point. But we can all learn from this and try to be better. And again, just fight in the courtroom. Never, ever fight these cops on the street. You will lose every time. Even if you're right, the consequences are so great, both from a legal standpoint, financial standpoint, and even from, it could even cost you your life. It's just not worth finding them in the street. You're part of the traffic stop and drive a lot of how the attitude of the cop is going to be. Yes, there's some dick cops out there, but most of them are fairly decent folks. And if you treat them right, don't be a jerk. Show them your ID. Treat them with some level of respect that you would want. And in most cases, you may end up with just a warning. But the minute you start acting up and acting a fool, like too many people on YouTube, it's no problem off that cop. He's going to give you a ticket. And in fact, he's going to get overtime to have to show up to court when you have to lose a day at work. So it's actually beneficial to be polite, get through it, and move on with your life. Thank you for stopping by. Please like and subscribe and share this video and hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for visiting.